Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. We got a lot to cover. I'm going to go over in a few minutes everything that's going on with these people online about their food stamp benefits, the SNAP benefits they're called, but that's the new thing, EBT, SNAP, food stamps, it's all the same thing. And because of the Schumer shutdown, the food stamps are going to be cut off. And I want to go through this and talk about it, and I'm going to play some of the videos of people that are having these insane meltdowns that they're putting up on social media about getting their SNAP benefits cut. So we're going to cover all of that and more, but there's a couple things I want to go through first. And, you know, there's so much talk these days about Antifa because, you know, they're on the move all over the country. Mainly in Portland, we're seeing them a lot now. And Nick Sorter, I showed a video this morning. He went to their safe house. He showed their safe house on X in Portland, which is like 1 or 2 blocks away from the ICE facility in Portland. It was amazing. I showed it on the stream this morning. And I wanted to show you this. And it's a video from January 6th. And if there's one person I could identify, if I could only identify one person that was wearing a mask on January 6th, it would be this guy. I want to show you this, and I want to ask you this question. This person, and you're welcome to call me on the program about it. If you're watching live, the number's toll-free. It's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. If you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, you want to go to my main live stream where you can see and hear all the video and audio and everything that I play. There's a link in the description of that video with the green behind me. It'll take you right there. I want to ask you, there's 3 choices to choose from, right? A, B, and C. I'm going to show you this video from January 6th, and I want you to let me know if you think this person is, there's 3 choices, MAGA, Antifa, or a Fed. A, B, C. Is this person MAGA, Antifa, or a Fed? All right, now let me share this with you. And this is the person I've been wondering about for all these years. And this is the person who broke the window. Is he MAGA, Antifa, or a Fed? And watch the video. This is from January 6th. He just broke the window on the Capitol building. I mean, the way that he's carrying himself. A is MAGA, B is Antifa, C is Fed. Which do you think he is? But don't give me the A, B, and C. Give me the answer either MAGA, Antifa, or Fed in the chat, or you're welcome to call me. Now look, here's a guy who's MAGA who's trying to stop him, right? He comes up with the American flag. This guy's MAGA, and he's trying to stop him from breaking the window of the Capitol.
Do not go in there.
It's is he MAGA, Antifa, or a Fed? Let me know. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take some calls in a bit. And that's the one guy that I've wondered about all these years. And if I could only identify one person on January 6th whose identity is unknown, it would be that guy. All right, the number is 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening from, 888-465-2631. Okay, so the left are having meltdowns. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls shortly. There's another thing I want to share here first. The never-Trumpers, the Democrats, the liberals, the left, the fake news media, they've been having these meltdowns over the ballroom that Trump's building. Now, the ballroom is being paid for by the president himself and donors. No government money. It's over $200 million from donors and the president, right? And you've heard some references to the basketball court that President Obama built. Well, do you know how much the basketball court cost? Look at this. $376 million. And it was paid for by taxpayers. A $376 million basketball court that I don't even know if he ever used for more than a photo op or two. And it was taxpayer money. He tore out a tennis court that had been there since the early 1900s. Listen, yeah. So I don't know what they're all upset with Trump about. Listen.
Sounds like they're building another wing to the White House, but we appreciate you keeping your focus.
You can't even imagine, TJ. It's going to happen for the next 2 years. All of the banging, the jackhammering, the dust, the confusion, the noise of all places to do construction is happening right here, the front lawn of the White House.
It's a 4-year renovation project. Estimated cost, $376 million.
For the basketball court.
Sounds like they're building another wing to the White House.
Can you imagine? Taxpayer money, almost $400 million to build a basketball court. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? So what are they talking about? All right, let me take some of these calls because I would think they want to answer my question. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike.
I think that guy is a Fed dressed like Antifa.
Why do you say Fed? What makes you say Fed, not Antifa?
I think because remember Ray Epps was a Fed dressed like MAGA, so I think they had him on both sides because we know that they had a great number of not just federal agents but federal assets in the crowd. So I think this guy's a federal asset probably, and he's dressed like Antifa.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're the first guesser. We don't know. The person has not been identified, and I don't know if they got enough info to identify him. Although his pants are pretty distinctive if they went on surveillance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Job for 9, calling from California. Good afternoon, Brian.
Hey,
Hope
what's
you're
up?
Doing well.
I'm very well.
That's fantastic. Fed, my
Fed.
selection.
Why do you say Fed?
Because he was dressed as Antifa. On that particular day, Antifa was dressed as MAGA. MAGA
Yes.
was dressed as MAGA.
Yes.
And then, and then Fed. And plus, if you actually look at it, he ended up taking it out kind of nonchalantly. Antifa typically does their stuff right out front and doesn't really hold back. And then he actually tried to blame it, or look like it, attempting to blame it, the act on that guy that he
Yeah,
pushed.
Antifa masks were American flags and things like that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm totally excited about the ballroom. He can do whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned. He's in there right now. Everybody else has done other stuff to it. Your wonderful podcast yesterday showed that the whole thing was gutted.
Yep.
And the only thing was left was the outside walls. Houses get updated. It's called the White House, and there you go.
There you go.
I'm excited because according to what I'm hearing is that the shutdown is going to be resolved either today or tomorrow because they're going on some spree right now of their filibustering. So that's fantastic. But the reason why it seems that they ended up kind of cutting it short was because of the SNAP program, because
food stamps.
People on SNAP were going to end up losing their you-know-what if
Their
they
food
didn't
stamps.
get their food stamps.
Yep.
So, you know something? I've come to the realization, or maybe I'm hoping that Trump will actually end up doing this as well, that if you're receiving any sort of subsidy from the government, you should be doing something for yourself. And I know that they have the Medicare work.
Well, there's listen, there's. Well, I'll get into that. I'm gonna get to the SNAP stuff next, but I'll get my thoughts then. All right, I'll take another call or two on this, then we'll move on. But it seems the consensus is Fed, and I think we got some good explanation. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
IB, good morning, good afternoon, and good day, Brother Brian.
Hey,
How
IB.
are you feeling?
What's up? That's a good cover for saying good morning in the afternoon. I appreciate that's good cover. The slip.
You know what? You are slicker than I am.
Yes.
But but seriously, my morning is running into my day. You know what? You guys were not upset. Granted, a black man put a basketball court. Think about all of the racist presidents that would conceive in their grave, rolling over
Oh, yeah.
the Confederates, that there's a black man that has basketball courts shooting early in the morning, smoking a cigarette. Go figure.
The reason that Obama, I don't know if he used the basketball court. I think he put it in there so he could seem down with the black people, right?
No,
he's supposed to have a basketball court.
I think he did have a. No, he did shoot. I think he did shoot once or twice, maybe just for the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
But he didn't use it.
But it cost almost $400 million, and it was taxpayer money. President Trump is paying for this with his own money and donors' money. It's not costing the taxpayers a dollar.
Hey, Democrats, could you imagine just spending $100,000 to put a basketball court at your house for your children, but this guy spends $400 million on your expense in the White House? Unnecessary. And Trump is doing something out of his pocket to make it better for America. That's what Make America Great Again is. And you guys are writing him about it. Mm-hmm. It's ludicrous. I mean, it's ludicrous.
It sure
and
is.
You know what? I don't even want to get into Mandami. I mean, like, remember, Islam means to submit. They are spawns. They're spawning through the whole country, and we must take them down. And he will beg. New York will get to their knees, and he will have to come to Trump and beg, not only for forgiveness, because once that money goes away and the corporations leave, and the people who really have the ability to leave, and they may even leave their own houses for the safety of their children. They may even walk away from their own houses and maybe try to sell it from Texas or Florida or somewhere else.
It's possible.
There's so many things in motion, and when the riots start and people start going into stores when he wins, and they know immediately they can go steal up to $1,000.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have those revolving.
This thing. Mandami is legalizing like misdemeanors, which includes prostitution, assault, and theft up to $1,000. So I want to know what that means. Can I go to like 10 stores a day and steal $1,000, or is it $1,000 a day? How does that work?
What it means is giving the goons, those little guys under the bridge that are the bad ones, the ghouls. He's giving them dominion to run free and run rampage. Now, and that's going to not only create a certain fear and control, but then again, he's going to also have his other people, the Muslims, creating, like someone mentioned, Sharia law. Imagine hearing the bells like Richie the bus driver.
That's exactly right.
Imagine hearing bells at 4:30 and 5 o'clock.
Oh my goodness! The call to prayer. I know it'll be. Listen, IB, I got to run because I got a lot to cover. I don't want to talk about Mamdani too much right now. But I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for the call. It seems to be pretty unanimous. Everyone thinks that guy's a Fed. I agree. The fact that he was in Antifa clothes, I think, is a tip-off that he's a Fed. The Antifa were dressed as MAGA. That's exactly right. So I agree with all of you guys that the guy was a Fed. Yeah, I agree. And when that was happening live and I was watching it on television in my living room, I was thinking that, and I wanted to know who that person was all these years later. All right, now I'm going to play some of the videos of these SNAP people that we've been seeing all over social media today, because the SNAP benefits, they're not going to get their EBT. SNAP benefits are food stamps. EBT, food stamps, SNAP, it's called all kinds of different things, but it's all the same. And because of the Schumer shutdown, come November 1st, which is a week from Saturday, they're not going to get their benefits. And I want to say this before we go through these clips. MAGA, the president, Republicans, conservatives, we are not against EBT. We are not against food assistance. We are not against SNAP. We're not against food stamps. What we're against are what we're seeing with these videos. People that are able-bodied and able to work who are retired. They're just retired. They have no intention on ever working. They don't plan on working. I've got a few I want to play for you. That's what the corruption around it. And that's what ticks us off. Anyone who is in a situation in this country should not go without. But, you guys that are watching me right now, how do you get your food? You work. So, now, some of you may be on hard times. It may be on food stamps. And I want to be very clear about what I'm talking about. Myself personally, as well as the president, MAGA, Republicans, and conservatives, I don't want anyone who is on hard times or has a disability or is elderly or has a health-related issue, if you're receiving assistance of any kind, what I'm going to talk about from this point forward has nothing to do with you. You are the reason these programs exist, to help those who are deserving, who are in need, not people like this, okay? And this is, you guys, you follow me. I did a live stream at 5 a.m. this morning for 4 hours, and I've been working all day. Now here I am again, and you guys work hard and long hours too, and I do this every day of the week. This, this is what we do. But there are people out there that are retired without ever entering the workforce, and we're seeing a lot of that now. Let me play. Now, I did play this one this morning, but the other ones I'm going to play I've not shared before.
So my sister made a video about how my whole entire family gets EBT. And everyone is calling us bums because we don't work and we live off the government. And we are proud of that. Growing up, this is what we were taught. We were taught to not have to work. We were taught to live off the government because it is there for us to use. And from what I could remember, it all started back with my grandparents. My grandparents used to get the paper, like the paper coupons to go and pay for, food and stuff like that. And that's when I was like, this is free money. Like, what? So living off of EBT is literally a tradition in our family. Once my grandparents passed away, my mom started, applying, and she got approved for all 6 of us kids. And then, once my sister got older, she had her first child, she applied for food stamps, and she got, it was just like, a domino effect. One after another, we all got approved for EBT. And guess what? It's not going to stop there. Why? Because I have taught my children, and I'm going to be teaching my grandchildren, that they should do the same thing. They don't have to work. They could just have children, put themselves on EBT, get child support, all of that I do so I don't have to work, they could do it themselves too.
Now this one, isn't that crazy? Now this one here, when I first saw this morning before the show, she caught me off guard because I thought she was going to say, I'm not going to be that way. I'm not going to teach. And then she's like, yeah, I'm that way, and I'm passing that on to my kids. I was shocked when the way she's at the end. Now again, the videos that I'm going to share of people talking about their food stamp, EBT, SNAP benefits, these are all able-bodied people that could work, but they don't have to because they're comfortable with the lifestyle that is provided them by welfare. And that's just, it's infuriating is what it is. Let me pull some of the other ones up, and it's... Okay, here's another one. I've got a few of these to share. Listen to this.
If 42 million people are at risk of not receiving their EBT benefits in the month of November, I don't think that the grocery store staff should be risking their lives for a bag of groceries.
Okay, so there's a theme that you hear with this. A lot of these people, what they're talking about is they feel entitled to go and shoplift now. And I'll tell you, when I was first living out on my own, I did not make a lot of money. When I moved out on my own, I was making $5 an hour. $5 an hour. I worked 2 jobs. I worked at a radio station doing overnights. I worked from 3 a.m. till 11 a.m. in the morning at a radio station. And then I had another job that I had to be at noon. And I didn't make that much money there either. And I had rent, and I had electric, and I had food, and I had gas. And I discovered a lot of things that were really nice that I would do. Like Taco Bell was the best. Taco Bell, we had Taco Viva back then. Anybody remember Taco Viva? You could get a lot of tacos for $5, right? I mean, they were like 50 cents back then. So I ate a lot of tacos. I ate a lot of macaroni and cheese, and I was happy. And I still had money for beer and stuff too, But the idea that I could go out and get food stamps, it didn't even occur to me. I didn't even know I could, and even if I could, I don't think I would have. I mean, listen to this guy.
You know what? Since they want to take food stamps away, I'm going to fucking Walmart. I'm going to rack up any damn Walmart, throw that shit right in the basket. I'm coming right about that bitch. Move, get the fuck out of my way. I'm not paying for a damn thing. Y'all got me fucked up. I ain't getting a food stamp on EBT. Oh, watch this. Watch this. It's about to be some bullshit. It about to be some shit.
I'm so glad they put the captions on here because I would not be able to understand this guy.
I'm about to go in that bitch masked up, you hear me? Masked up, breaking every damn thing up off the damn shelf, throwing that shit in a basket, walking clean up out there. Well, I got me fucked up, boy. It's about to be Thanksgiving, you hear me? And Christmas coming up, and y'all gonna take away nigga EBT? Oh, nah, y'all got the game really fucked up. Y'all got the game fucked all the way up, son. Believe that. Watch this. Y'all think I'm playing? Watch this, you hear me? Watch this. Watch what I do. Watch what I do. Watch what I do. I'm gonna go in that Walmart with a basket, and I'm gonna rack all kind of shit. I'm gonna throw this shit on the basket. I'm gonna walk right about that bitch. Put this in the car. Phew, I'm out of there. I'm out of there.
Wow. You know what? There's a lot of things about this that just blow my mind. Okay, it's one thing to do it, right? It's another thing to record a video and put it out there on social media and let the world know that you are premeditating, right? You are planning a crime. That's the entitlement has gone to a whole new level. And all of these people that are on these food, they're young, which also blows my mind. They're young. You know, they're not. Now, that last guy might have some type of mental disability. He very well may. He's pretty bad. But, you know, they're young. They have the ability to work. And work isn't even on their radar. You know, and you got to wonder how many people on these programs are like this. I don't know what kind of reform we can do to weed these people off the programs, but my goodness.
This morning I called my local DSS office, and I asked them to confirm whether or not what I was hearing was true, knowing it was true, that SNAP benefits are not coming next month. And she said, yeah, no, you're right, they're not coming. I said, okay, well, I hadn't heard anything, confirming what I'm hearing, so I was just calling to check. And she said, you're not going to hear anything. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, your local DSS are trying to figure out what's going on, but the state DSS is not planning on telling anybody what's going on. They're not planning on letting the citizens know that they're not going to get their food stamps next month. She also said that this would likely go on into December, that we will likely not get December's SNAP benefits. So that's great. That's lovely. So I'm coming to TikTok in hopes that there is an answer here.
Yeah, well, like get a job or a second job. You know, there has not been a time in my life, in my adult life, okay, because when I was younger, I was in school, I had a job, but in my adult life, there hasn't been more than a short little brief of time where I wasn't doing two things. I mean, like now even, right? You guys see, I'm on the radio in the mornings. I mean, I have a pretty good job, right? I'm on a bunch of FM radio stations and morning drive, and I'm still doing all these other things, right? I've been that way my whole life. When I was working on the radio, I have jobs at offices. I used to sell cars. A lot of you don't know that. I used to sell cars. I used to sell cars part-time at CarMax once for a while. So I've always had a second job, a second source of income. And, you guys hear when I have Jupiter Joe Thomas on, how many times have you heard me say to him that, successful people, you want to have as many income streams coming in as you can, right? At least 3. I talk about that a lot. That's something I've learned from successful people, but also because I've always done something. The radio show ends at 9 o'clock. I don't have to do anything after that. Whatever I do before 6 a.m. and after 9 a.m. is my own time, and I don't work on the weekends, and I still, with my main job, but I still always have been doing things after, even when I was a board op, and I wasn't even on the air yet, I would board op at more than one radio station, so that's just me, okay? And I'm not saying everybody needs to work 2 jobs, but the reason I bring this up is these are all young people, and they won't even work 1 job. It just blows my mind.
SNAP benefits. So that's great. That's lovely. So I'm coming to TikTok in hopes that there is an answer here. I don't know what the answer could be. I don't know what the solution could be. I don't know if is it mutual aid? Is it mutual aid? Do we all need to come together?
I don't even know what these words mean. What is mutual aid? Does anyone know what she's talking about? See, it's amazing to me. These they know how to game the system, don't they? What are mutual benefits? I've heard of Mutual of Omaha. I've heard of mutual funds. I've heard of mutual agreements. I don't know what that is.
And start pooling our money and help these families like myself, like my mother, like my grandmother, who don't have the money to replace those benefits, who don't have the income to replace those benefits.
Well, we're not talking about grandma or your mom who's elderly, okay? We're talking about people in their 20s.
What do we do? Because there are children, there are elderly, there are disabled people who do not have the money. And I have 3 children. And I have to feed them. The last time I came on here and talked to you guys about the SNAP benefits, I was full on crashing out. I'm not crashing out this time. I'm scared, but I'm fucking angry. This time I'm angry.
Aren't
and
you?
I will not just sit here and mope and cry about it. I will not sit here and just panic.
Well, will you get a job, though? Will you get it? You're not going to mope and cry. Will you get a job?
And sit in the floor and scream and cry this time. This time we need a plan. We need something that we can do together to figure this out. If you know of any creators, any organizations that are pulling stuff together and are trying to figure out what...
She's trying to find other places to get handouts.
What's going on. Help me. Send them my way or send me their way.
Okay, yeah, Starbucks, Chipotle, Walmart, they're all hiring, okay? They're all hiring. McDonald's, hiring. They're all hiring. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What a world we are in. All right, let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean.
These people are hilarious. This woman says that she's angry, she's upset. So we're the American people that work. We're angry.
Exactly.
And,
exactly. What the hell?
And amazing how these people that were coming in, these 20 million illegals, they were all saw in the retirement plan. Enough is enough. And you know what? They're not going to get it either. And it's time. Like most of these people are very young, and that's the really troubling thing. It started like a couple months ago where, they were remember they were cutting out the junk food for the benefits?
Yes.
The stamps would only buy healthy food, which is reasonable. And I think it's made a big.
Well, I don't know how it works now, but when I, you guys have often heard me say this. When I was in high school and when I first started in radio, right out of high school, I worked at Publix, the big grocery store chain here in Florida, and I was a stockman. But when I got busy, I'd run a cash register when I got really busy, right? And I remember people would come in with food stamps, and back then they didn't have the card. They actually had the stamps. It looked like Canadian money. The stamps looked like Canadian money. It was in different colors and denomination and stuff. And when someone was paying with food stamps, they would tell you, and then there was a button you pushed on the cash register, and it gave you 2 totals. One was the food stamp total, and the other was the cash total, because a lot of things weren't. And I remember having to get managers, people arguing. What do you mean this isn't covered? On my food stamps. I'd give them the food stamps on the down lows, but they're like putting a spotlight on themselves. But I know that the EBT covers a lot more than it used to. You can even buy clothes with it. You can buy stamps at the post office with it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, like you said, back in the day, it was almost like you didn't want people to know. And, you tried to just use it. And a lot of people were trying to, but back then maybe there was more of a time for it was necessary for some people that were having hard times. And I get it.
It is, and I don't want anybody in this audience to think I'm making fun of people that are on government assistance. It is there for people who are deserving, are needing it, elderly, sick, disabled, someone's fallen on hard times. That's what it's for. I'm talking about, like this next one I'm going to play. I'll pull her up on the screen. I'm talking about like this girl here. The thing about the difference between the days when they were the actual stamps that look like Canadian money and now it's like a debit card, and it took the shame out of it. Like people don't know. It used to be like some people would be embarrassed, and that was a deterrent. And when they started putting it in the debit card, it took embarrassment away from it for everybody. You know, there's
Yep.
some people that obviously don't care, but a lot of people would be embarrassed, and that card took the embarrassment away.
That's a good point, because you know what? Yeah, they took the embarrassment away, and then they took this. Yeah, I mean, now it's more incentive for people to just do it without having to do anything because they don't want to do anything, and you know, they use that excuse. Oh, I grew up that way. Well, you know what? You know what I say to that? It's like when people grow up in bad areas. You have to have the common sense enough to know, you know, don't do that. Don't commit that crime. Don't do that. I think at some point you debate. Most of the people are young and able-bodied, of course, and then you're in a bad area.
Well, I remember we had a really bad hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Wilma. Around the time of Hurricane Wilma, that's when Steve and I met William Youngman, was right after Hurricane Wilma. We had a couple of hurricanes that were pretty bad that hit 2 weeks apart. And FEMA was set up at a local mall. And I remember and they were giving stuff away. And I remember they were giving cash away and stuff. There was a line of cars a mile long, but they were like expensive cars, like luxury cars and stuff. These are people that didn't need the $300, but they were getting something for free, you know? You know, Pete, that's, you know, you know, I don't know. I something's got to be done about this. I'm glad they made these TikTok videos, and I'm sure the president's seen some of them.
Oh, yeah. He's up on everything.
He must be pissed.
He knows what's going on.
He always knows.
And I think that it's good. He knows it all. And you know what? And I think that's that people are exposing themselves. And thank God, in a way, for some reason. I'm not a biggest fan of TikTok, but I'll say one thing. It does give us the ground here on what's going on with these people and what they're trying to do. I mean, like the other guy said, he's going to rob the stores. Well, you just expose yourself, buddy.
I mean, who makes a video and puts it up on TikTok that they're going to commit crime? Hey, listen, I got to run, but we'll talk again. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take a break and come back, and I've got more. I'll take more of your calls and also some more of these videos to play. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, where MAGA comes to talk. We'll be right back. Hey, everyone. We're joined by Joe Thomas. You know Joe Thomas. He's with me on the radio all the time, talking about annuities. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Good morning.
Hey there. You know, annuities are absolutely amazing. I tell you all the time, I've heard about annuities my whole life, and until I met you and you explained them to me, I didn't understand what they were and how great they are. For people that don't know anything about annuities, can you tell them what an annuity is and why they should have one?
So basically, you have car insurance for your car. You have home insurance for your home. Okay? You have life insurance for life. This is basically insurance for your money. It protects your money through an insurance company. So you can't lose money if you invest with the type of annuities that we provide.
When you say you can't lose money with an annuity, no matter what happens in the stock market could tank today or tomorrow, you're not going to lose any money. Why is that?
Because the insurance company protects your interest. It's an insurance product and not a securities product. So people don't understand the difference between directly investing in the market. You have the upside potential, unlimited, but you also have the unlimited risk potential if the market goes down. But with an annuity, it protects the downside where you can't lose any money. Now, the only way you can lose money, disclosure, is if you surrender an annuity early. Let's just talk about that. If you do cash it in early, well, you have a surrender charge. If you don't cash it in early, you don't have a surrender charge. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Now, another thing about annuities that I find absolutely amazing is how you have this guaranteed income stream in your retirement. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So when people do retire, they have this thing called a 401k. And the problem with a 401k is that it basically doesn't give you anything to turn into income. It's an accumulator. You accumulate money. And then when you turn 65 or 66 or 67, they don't tell you how to get income. So what an annuity does is it converts that 401k into income. And then the income stream with an income rider provides income for the rest of your life as long as you live and your spouse's life.
Yeah. So when you retire, you have your 401k. You have two choices, right? You can cash it out and start eating up your principal, or you can take it, put it in an annuity, keep all that money, but have a revenue stream coming in every month.
Exactly. And the insurance company assumes your risk. The risk is that you live too long. The insurance company has to keep paying you. It's a contractual obligation that they have to keep paying you for life. Lifetime income.
That's right. Now, Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are in the United States. And when you talk with Joe Thomas, he's going to put together a custom proposal just for you based on your situation, your goals. These are not cookie cutter, okay? This is very specific to you, and everyone's situation is different. Give Joe Thomas a call. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, JupiterJoe.com. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. Make sure you give Jupiter Joe a call. He'll take very good care of you. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999 and online, JupiterJoe.com. And where you saw me sitting there, that's where you see me. If you ever see me on television and I do hits on TV, that's where I'm sitting and doing it from. Just the lighting's a little different when I'm doing TV. All right, back to the phones. We're talking about these SNAP people that are upset that their benefits are being cut because of the Schumer shutdown. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jody from Illinois.
Hey, Jody, what's on your mind?
Well, first I want to say I love your show.
Thank you.
I've been watching it for a couple months now. You're talking about the SNAP benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What angers me is the entitlement of these people thinking that, where do they think this comes from?
Yeah.
What's your opinion? Like, what is your opinion? Because when it first began, it was just
I'll tell you where it happens. You've got people. We've got a class of people larger than I think we realize, or that they're institutionalized, like somebody that's in prison for 30 years, right? They don't know another way. Mm-hmm. You heard the first one I played is why I played that one this morning. The other ones I've not played before. And I played that one first is because she said her grandparents passed it on to her parents passed it on to her, and she's passing it on. So they're institutionalized. Right? Remember, you ever see Shawshank Redemption? Everybody's seen that movie. It used to be on.
I know, that's my favorite movie.
Okay, remember? Well, now hold on. Now remember when those guys would get out of prison, they couldn't hack it in the real world because they were institutionalized in the prison. That's how these people are. They're institutionalized in welfare. Same thing, like Shawshank Redemption.
That's a good analogy, but this is the thing: is you talk about how you worked for $5, and
I did.
I think we're about the same age. And I've been to the point where I ate once a day or every other day. They don't have pride.
Yes, no pride, no embarrassment, no shame.
And because firsthand, I remember going to the store and somebody getting 6 cases of water for free, and all they had to do was pay the taxes, which was $5, and they didn't even want to pay that.
Yeah.
And that infuriated me.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that Trump is pulling that back, because I totally agree. But that's all I wanted to say.
All right, well, I appreciate
you.
All right, take care. Well, I appreciate you too. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll free, 888-465-2631. It's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. And what I've been doing, if you're just tuning in, the food stamps, also known as SNAP benefits and EBT, because of the Schumer shutdown, they're not going to be paid come November 1st. And people that are living their life on EBT instead of working have been making TikTok videos all day. God forbid they look for a job. But they've been making TikTok videos all day complaining that their food stamps are being cut off.
Donald motherfucking Orange Man J. Trump. I'm going to tell you just like this. What the fuck you mean? Who ain't getting that goddamn food stamps in goddamn November? Because I'm getting my goddamn shit. I don't know about the rest of you motherfuckers, but I'm getting my shit. Because I'm going to tell you just like this, on Jesus Lamar motherfucking Christ. I will be at motherfucking Walmart with my steel toes on and my motherfucking helmet, and I dare a bitch try to stop me from walking out that motherfucking store with my groceries. Baby, I'm 250 pounds solid. Baby, you want to see a human motherfucking bulldozer, baby? Because that's what the fuck I'm going to turn into. If you think you going to stop me from leaving out that goddamn store with my motherfucking monthly groceries that I get every goddamn month, I ain't bothering no goddamn body, okay? Why the fuck is y'all bothering me and my goddamn food? I'm just so tired of his big back, bald head, cradle cap having ass. Shaped like a motherfucking penguin any motherfucking way, albino motherfucking walrus looking ass. I'm sick of him. Like, it's gonna be an episode of goddamn Snap if y'all turn them goddamn Snap benefits off, I can tell you that.
I mean, my goodness. My goodness. Yeah, the last caller said it. There's no shame. There's no shame anymore. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Peter, and I live in Virginia Beach.
Hey, what's up?
I got a question. Do you ever notice how they have tattoos, hair weaves, and long nails?
Yeah, there are a lot of
using
long
an
nails and
iPhone?
stuff. Yeah, yeah. Making videos on iPhones. Yeah, yeah. In cars. Yeah, I noticed that now. Now that you bring that up, yeah, they have money for all that stuff. Can you pay for the hair and the nails with EBT? I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Well, now the work requirements have kicked in October 1st, if I'm not mistaken, where you have to do, I think, like 80 hours.
Some of them, yeah, some of them require this. Some of these people in the videos talk about it. Sometimes it's 20 hours a week of work. Sometimes it's community service. There's all kinds of different things people are required to do.
80 hours a month. I used to do 80 hours a week.
Yeah, well, that's about what I'm doing now. Probably more. Actually more, but
Well, I appreciate everything you do.
Well, thank you.
The one thing I've noticed, the one thing I've noticed today, which has been different, there is a filibuster going on in the Senate right now. It's been going on for 22 plus hours.
Yeah.
Now, every other vote in the Senate to pass the clean, continuing resolution has not faced that. I wonder why that's possibly happening.
Yeah. Good point. Good questions.
There might be a possibility that
a lot of people think it's getting ready to get settled. They're doing the filibustering while it's getting settled.
Well, I'm thankful for that because every other time there was a dirty backroom deal that was done involving Schumer, and this is the Schumer Shutdown.
That's right. It absolutely is.
Yep.
Yep, it is.
With these TikToks that are out here, it sort of lit a fire, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope it is settled before. I plan on doing the last of my shopping on the 30th of this month. And let's hope something goes through and is a clean CR is passed. Okay? But
well, listen, I'm gonna move on, but I appreciate the call.
You have a good day, sir.
You too. All right, take care. Much. All right, take care. Okay, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Robert from Coconut Creek.
Hey, Robert. What's up?
First time calling you, and I was interested in talking about this situation with EBT.
Well, hold on. Let me answer these calls while we're doing that. All right, go ahead. Oh no, hold on. All right, yeah, go ahead.
I was no expert on this, so I had to do a little research. And the first thing I would say is that the people that are on TikTok, some of these social media videos, I wouldn't put a lot of credence into it. I think that some of those people just want attention.
No, they're real. No, they're real. Now they want attention, but they're for real. They're on EBT. It's for real.
Let's assume you're right. Let's assume you're right, and they're for real. Okay. I'm going to say this much. Number one, November 1, they're going to get their EBT. It's impossible. If the people do not get that money, that will be the end. I mean, you're talking, that's a high-stakes game that we can't even afford to play because the mass media, they're going to show senior citizens.
No, who cares what the mass media does? And it's not the senior citizens will be fine. Hey, listen, I'm gonna move on. I don't need to hear his liberal crap about this. Let me take another couple calls or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Jimmy from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Hey, what's up, Jimmy?
Oh, not much. I just want to understand why you guys are trying to blame the Democratic Party for the government shutdown, considering the government right now is ran by the Republicans, considering they control the House, the Senate, and the White House?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm going to answer it. And unfortunately for you, you don't have a proper knowledge of social studies and
Yes,
how
I do.
and how
My
the
proper
Senate
knowledge
works.
is
No, you don't. You have no
just
idea what.
because
No, you don't know
we
what
want
you're.
some
Excuse
concessions
me. You're
in
about
the
to learn.
bill.
Excuse me. You're about to learn something that you don't know. Okay. The Senate works a little differently than the House. Okay, with these types of votes where they have a continuing resolution where they're dealing with budget issues, it's not a simple majority vote. They have to have a 60 vote majority to pass this. That's the rules of the Senate. So we don't have 60 Republicans.
Exactly. So why can't the Republicans give a little bit of
What, the Republicans?
ground room
What you mean give
to
25 million illegals health insurance? That's insanity. No.
They can't. It is federally illegal to give illegal immigrants fucking health care. You guys know this.
But Democrats
But you're gonna
don't
keep
care.
spreading this
They
lie.
still do it. They
You're
still
gonna
do
keep
it.
spreading this lie. It's a lie. You guys
Nope,
keep
it's
spreading
not.
bullshit lies. How about you stop sucking Trump's dick?
Calm down, Antifa.
It's a lie.
Calm down.
I'm not Antifa. I'm an American, unlike you idiots that think Trump is the best thing for America.
What kind of American are you? A South American?
No, I'm 100% American. I was actually I'm Native American, unlike you idiots
Really?
from Europe
Like
that
an
came
Indian?
and stole our country.
What tribe? What tribe are you?
Yes, Indian.
What tribe?
Blackfoot.
Blackfoot?
Cherokee, Potawatomi.
Let me hear
Which
some.
one would you like me to
well,
prefer?
the one I'd
I
like
live
to
in
hear.
Wisconsin, fool.
Yeah. Let me hear you speak some.
Potawatomi.
Some Indian.
There you go.
Let's hear some.
But
let's
you
hear
guys
you.
think
Talk to
Trump
me.
is so good.
Talk
He's
to
a
me in your
fucking
English.
criminal. He's a
Talk to
rapist,
me in your.
and you guys
Excuse me. Talk to me in your native Indian language.
Back a rapist.
Talk to me in your native Indian language. Oh, he hung up. Oh, yeah. Oh, he doesn't speak Indian. Guess he's not Indian. Oh, boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Jeff. I live in Vancouver, Washington.
Hey, what's up?
Can you explain to me the logic of putting Qatar fighter pilots in our backyard?
Well, yeah, I'll explain that to you. It's a good question. Okay, now tell me what you think is the situation with the Qatari Air Force.
Sure. Okay.
And then,
well,
then I'll
I
respond
just
to
watched
see,
the documentary
if
about,
you're up to speed.
What I think is Netanyahu.
No. We're talking about no. Hold on. We're talking about.
This is part of the
slow
story.
down.
This is part of the story.
No. I'm not handing the show over to you. Okay, I got a hot show and a lot of stuff to cover. So I'm not going to hand you over to give me a play down of some lefty documentary. The Qatari fighter pilots. What is your understanding of what they're doing with the United States Air Force? What's your understanding of the situation?
My understanding is that they're putting fighter jets in Idaho to help train Qatar fighter
Where do you
pilots.
guys get your information? Okay, we have a military agreement with Qatar, and what they're and some
Sure.
and as we do with all of the countries around the world that we have agreements with, relationships with, alliances with, and friendships with. Some pilots from Qatar will be at a U.S. Air Force base training with U.S. Air Force pilots. They're not going to be Qatar aircraft. There's not going to be a Qatar Air Force base. They're going to be American fighter jets, not Qatari Air Force flying over our lands.
I would suggest you go back and look at it again. It
No,
will be their jets.
I get
It
my
will be our
information. I get my information from the Secretary of War. His name's Pete Hegseth. You may have heard of him.
Sure,
That's
yeah,
what-
and that's what he said on the TV. That's what he said on his Twitter, is that he's not going to be their air base, but it will be their jet.
Okay, so
Sure, it'll be our air base.
So what's the problem?
They used our airports in 9/11 too, didn't they? Dumb shit.
Oh my goodness. Great vocabulary from these people today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Las Vegas, Andrew.
Hey Andrew, what up?
Oh, nothing. I just I like a lot of what you have to say. The real problem I have is like how are you about the Constitution? Are you a constitutionalist or no?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, because the whole thing with the Trump and the third term.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think that's okay?
Yes, of course.
And how do you legally think that's
You
okay?
changed the
And,
law.
like,
You changed the law.
No, I know, but that's like my opinion is that like anything after like basically 9/11.
You know what they say about opinions.
Well, I know, but like our government's been hijacked for a long period of time, and they've been just trampling the Constitution.
Oh, I know, trampling. You're a constitutionalist out there in Vegas. You're an American patriot.
Well, I'm not originally from here.
In fact, I would say if you're as you parade yourself around as some originalist of the Constitution, the original Constitution of the United States, which was ratified when? When was the Constitution ratified?
Originally?
It was only ratified once.
Articles of Confederation.
No, I'm not talking about the Articles of Confederation. We're talking about the Constitution. You said you're a constitutionalist, a defender of the Constitution. It was only ratified once. When was it ratified?
I'm sorry, I'm not in the dates. And why do you always like to just insult everybody?
Well, you're calling in on your high holy horse of moral superiority that you're a constitutionalist, and you don't even know about it. You don't even know when it was ratified.
You like to incite and you like to hurt people. That's all you like to do.
No, I'm not inciting or hurting anyone. What I'm telling you is that you're full of it. If you were this right honorable who stands by he hung up too. The constitutionalist, you would know it was ratified in 1787. And if you're an originalist constitutionalist person, as you claim to be, there were no term limits. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kyle.
I missed everything you said. All right, let me get back to... sorry, I didn't have the phone. I hit the wrong button. All right, so here's another woman talking about her SNAP benefits, EBT food stamp benefits.
I have not ate in 5 days. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to feed me.
Oh, well, excuse me. I didn't realize. It's your responsibility to feed her. Oh my goodness. We're in another place, friends. We're in a completely different place. Did I share that? I don't think I shared this one. This is another video by the girl that was in the car.
Me and my kids have been 5 days without food. 5 days ago, my food stamps were taken from me, stolen from me with no warning. No warning. Today, I get this food stamp letter from the fucking food stamp office telling me not only am I losing my food stamps, I'm losing my $2,100 in cash benefits that I get every single month to pay my bills. I'm losing my Section 8. My food stamps have now decreased from $4,300 to $19 a month for 6 kids.
People get $4,000 a month for food stamps? Jeez. Holy jeez. Is that what she said? Let me rewind that.
I'm losing my $2,100 in cash benefits that I get every single month to pay my bills. I'm losing my Section 8. My food stamps have now decreased from $4,300 to $19 a month for 6 kids. How the hell am I supposed to feed 6 kids on $19 a freaking month? On top of having to come up with rent, because now I don't have Section 8. Cash benefits, no cash benefits. My $300 utility check that I get every single month.
What about the fathers of these 4 children? I say fathers plural, I just assume. Oh my goodness. Oh, I rewound
Me and my
Let me fast forward.
On top of having to come up with rent, because now I don't have Section 8. Cash benefits. No cash benefits. My $300 utility check that I get every single month, I will no longer be getting. We're going to be left out on the fucking streets. They take all of my food stamps. I don't even have a fucking dollar to my name, and I have 6 kids to feed. Please tell me, how is this making America great again? Can somebody make that? I'm so fucking pissed.
No, wow. I think she might have called me earlier. I don't know. She's got about the same vocabulary as some of our callers out there. Now, I want to tell you guys about Dr. Philip Appleton. Oh man, his robotic laser away pain treatment is an absolute miracle. You guys heard me. He's rid me of pain 7 times. And I'd been suffering from some pretty bad pain for many, many years. My knee pain I'd suffered from for 30 years. And not only did he rid me of pain 7 times, none of the pains that he's treated me for have returned. I was blown away after 30 years of suffering from my knee pain. After 2 treatments, my pain was gone. It hasn't returned. It was over 3 years ago. It works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. This is a very incomplete list, but some of the more common ones: arthritis, bronchial neuralgia, bursitis, hip pain, knee pain, lumbar pain, muscular contraction, sciatica, strains and sprains, tinnitus, tennis elbow, neck pain, stenosis, and many, many more. Give Dr. Appleton a call. You know, the consultation with Dr. Appleton is free, and appointments are not necessary. So go in, meet with him, take advantage of that no-charge free consultation. He'll explain to you how his robotic laser wave pain treatment can help you. And do what I've done 7 times. Say bye-bye to your pain. And we've had listeners travel from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. He's that good. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Man, why can't you hang up on me?
Because I was done talking with you, just like I'm going to do now. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hi, Brian.
Yes.
It's Joan from Tampa Bay. How you doing?
All right, Joan.
The lady that you just had on, you just showed, she has other things. The government found out that she's paid from TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yes, she has an income.
Oh, boy.
And if you look way back on her posts, there's one that they're telling her that she owes them back money from them paying her because they found out that she gets an income from TikTok.
Uh-oh, so she might have to pay them back some money.
Right. And they stopped all that, all her stuff because she has an income. And apparently they found out how much it is, and she doesn't qualify any longer.
Oh, my. That's great. That's great. So she found a job doing TikToks.
Well, TikToks, and I don't know, I guess she posts on other things too. And a lot of these people that post, they get paid.
Hey, being an online influencer is a living. Look what I'm doing it right now. Right?
Well, yeah. Well, that's what she is, and she's paid.
That's great.
So she has it.
Well, good. We smoked her out. She got busted. She got caught. Hey, listen, Joan, appreciate the call. Take care. All right. Well, that's some good info. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James from New Mexico.
Hey, James, what's on your mind?
Hey, so you guys are talking about this base in Idaho or something.
There is no
right?
base in Idaho. There is no base in Idaho. There's a U.S. Air Force base. There's no Qatari Air Base. That's not true.
I didn't say Qatari. I just said base. Chill out. I just said base. I didn't say Qatari. Don't try to get me with your gotcha. It's going to be maintained and funded by the Qatari government.
No, that's not true. That's not true. It's not true.
Simple Google search will prove
you
Google
wrong. Search. I go to the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, not
it
Google.
It came from the Secretary of War. Where did they get it from? Dude?
I got it from his own mouth. There's some of their pilots. Some of their pilots are going to train with ours, like other countries have been doing for decades. All right, take care. Oh my goodness, these people will believe anything. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Democrat. I am.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Stefan from Ohio.
Yes. Am I supposed to do some intro music or something for you?
Oh no! Sorry. I just had one question. Why do right-wing grifters always have this incest, dipshit look to them?
I don't know what that is, and I don't know when you say grifter. Let me ask: Is a grifter? Let me ask you: Is a grifter somebody that works for a living as opposed to sit at home like you? That's exactly. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's James from New Mexico. I don't know if I lost connection or if
no, you lost the connection. You lost the connection. Yeah. All right. Let me play a couple more of these TikToks. You know what it is? We've obviously hit a sore spot with some of the liberals out there.
So y'all remember that time that I got on TikTok telling y'all about the food stamps? Do y'all remember that time I got on here and told y'all about the food stamps? Why the fuck did they turn my food stamps off? And I gotta pay back $35,000.
Yep.
They turned my food stamp off and I gotta pay back $35,000. Now I'm fucking aggravated because how y'all didn't know I was playing on here? Y'all just running with shit. But them motherfuckers really turned my goddamn food stamps off and I have to pay them back $35,000. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna get $35,000 from.
She's lucky she's not going to jail for committing fraud, right?
But I have to pay them back. So y'all, watch what y'all put on the internet because everything is not for the internet. And I learned that. Now I'm sitting here stuck, hungry as fuck, no food. And I don't got no fucking $35,000, so I don't know where they think I'm about to get that from. So y'all remember that?
Oh boy, it's getting worse for these people. It's getting worse. Oh man. Well,
the problem
let's
with
go
the
to our
tomahawk,
favorite
a lot of
president.
People don't know. It'll take a minimum of 6 months, usually a
This
year,
is
to
live.
learn how to use them. They're highly complex. So the only way a tomahawk is going to be shot is if we shot it, and we're not going to do that. But there is a tremendous learning curve with the tomahawk. It's a very powerful weapon, very accurate weapon, and maybe that's what makes it so complex. But it will take a year. It takes a year of intense training to learn how to use it. And we know how to use it, and we're not going to be teaching other people. It's too far out into the future.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
I saw, Mr. President, that you said as recently as yesterday that you still believe that Putin wants to end the war.
Yeah,
And today
I do.
You took this step to ratchet the sanctions and put more
Yeah.
pressure on him. What else are you going to do to encourage him to get there, or can you explain why you do believe that he wants peace?
Yeah, it's a good question. Today is a very big day in terms of what we're doing. Look, these are tremendous sanctions. These are very big. Those are against their two big oil companies. And we hope that they won't be on for long. We hope that the war will be settled. We just answered having to do with the various forms of missiles and everything else that we're looking at, but we don't think that's going to be necessary. We would like to see them just take the line that has been formed over quite a long period of time and go and let's go home. Last week they had almost 8,000 soldiers killed. Many Russians were killed last week. Many Ukrainians were killed last week. We think it's ridiculous and would like to have it end.
Why do you think you want peace, though? Why do you still believe that?
I think they want peace. I think they both want peace at this point. It's been, it's almost 4 years. You're going into 4 years. And if I were president, it never would have started. But yeah, it's time.
Mr. President, on the shutdown, do you plan to meet with Democrats before you head to Asia? And if not, why not meet with Democrats?
Well, I think it's a shame that it's shut down because we have the greatest economy, as you were saying before. We have the greatest economy in the world right now, by far, the United States. We have almost 18, now it was 17, now it's $18 trillion being poured into our country, and it's no time for shutdowns. I don't think it's affecting what we're doing, but it's too bad for a lot of people. We have a lot of good people that aren't working right now that should be, and it's because the Democrats want to try and renegotiate a deal that they had negotiated. They want $1.5 trillion given to illegal immigrants who came into the country, and it's going to hurt the health care of citizens of our country that have been paying into it, that have been working hard for it, that really deserve it. So we're never going to do that. It's not going to happen. And I will tell you, there are a lot of good Democrats that really want to make a deal. And I think all we need is 5 Democrats because we have a great support on the Republican side. So I think we need 5 Democrats, and there are a lot of them that want to make a deal. So I think at some point, common sense will prevail. Yeah, go ahead, you can finish up.
On the drug boats, right, the Eastern Pacific.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us what that was about?
It's the Fox News reporter Jackie Heinrich.
Sure. Well, they had one today in the Pacific. And the way I look at it, every time I look, because it is violent.
That's the boat we took out,
And
the drug boat we just took out.
It's amazing the weaponry, that everyone, they have these boats that go 45, 50 miles an hour in the water. And when you look at the accuracy and the power. Look, we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world.
right.
And you see a little bit of it there. One shot, everyone dead center. And the only way you can't feel bad about it is you realize that you won't feel badly about it, is you realize that every time you see that happen, you're saving 25,000 American lives. Every one of those boats that gets
Wow.
knocked out
That's
is
something.
saving 25,000 American lives, not to mention the torn up families all over the country. And whenever I see that, I say to myself, I just saved 25,000 lives. I will say that there are very few boats traveling on the water right now. Actually, that includes fishing boats, that includes any other kind of boat. But there are very few boats traveling on the water. So now they'll come in by land to a lesser extent, and they will be hit on land also.
Wow.
Go ahead, in the back, please. Yes, we do. We have legal authority, right? We're allowed to do that. And if we do by land, we may go back to Congress. But we have, this is a national security problem. They killed 300,000 people last year.
Wow.
Drugs, these drugs coming in. They killed 300,000 Americans last year. And that gives
9/11
you
times
legal
10.
authority. We have a national security really, I will say this. When you look at the people we're dealing with, and we know them. We know the people coming in. We know the boats. We know everything else. We're allowed to do it. It's in international waters. If we don't do it, we're going to lose hundreds of thousands of people. Now, they'll be coming in by land a little bit more because they're not coming in by boat anymore. There are no boats in the water. There are no more boats. We know the boat almost immediately. You know, it's pretty unusual when you see somebody with a fishing rod and 5 engines on the back of the boat. You know, you don't need that to go fishing. Wait. And we will hit them very hard when they come in by land. And they haven't experienced that yet, but now we're totally prepared to do that.
Wow, you're
We'll
talking about
probably
land
go
action
back
now.
to Congress and explain exactly what we're doing when we come to the land. We don't have to do that, but I think, Marco, I'd like to do that. You may respond to that if you want.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question is, bottom line, these are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States.
Exactly. I love
Well,
Marco
these are all in
Rubio.
international waters. The boat. Well, that's a different matter. Now you're talking about a law enforcement matter. In this particular case, there are people traveling on international waters headed towards the United States with hostilities in mind, which includes flooding our country with dangerous, deadly drugs. And they're going to be stopped. And that's what's happening.
That's
And,
amazing. This is
in the case
absolutely
last week, you
freaking
saw
amazing.
It was a submarine. It was a submarine. It was a submersible. That's a drug boat all the way through. We know what these boats are. The president just said it. We track them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. You know, if you're running drug boats, you're in grave danger.
And drug usage is way down, and drug usage coming from the sea, they call it ocean drugs, a little term that they use, the ocean drugs, is very close to non-existent right now. I wouldn't want to be in one of those boats heading
no.
away. You know, they're driving happily to destroy the lives of people, and they end up, that's the end of them. So the ocean drugs and the sea drugs, drugs by sea they call it also, that's almost down to nothing, as you can imagine. So they continue to come in by land at a little bit less because they see something is going to happen. They don't like it. They see something, and they're right. Something very serious is going to happen. The equivalent of what's happening by sea. And we're going to Congress just to tell them what we're doing, just to keep them informed. So we have to do it for national security. We have to do it to save lives.
Secretary Bessent said that Vladimir Putin had not been honest and forthright in his talks with you. Just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about your feelings about that, and also my mate Nadir Rutte, just your thoughts on whether Ukraine should get tomahawks. Thank you.
Well, I think that in terms of honesty, the only thing I can say is every time I speak with Vladimir, I have good conversations, and then they don't go anywhere. They just don't go anywhere. So in that sense, but no, look, he's fighting a war. He's in a war. That's two very competent sides, and that's the way war is. You never know with war, but I would say that it's time to make a deal. A lot of people are dying. You know, they're not Americans, but they're people. They're souls.
That's
and
right.
they're dying by the thousands. Worst since World War II, and we really should stop it.
And to your other questions,
please.
Sorry, to your other question, this has been consistent from this president when we first met again after your re-election in Mar-a-Lago in November. You said we have to stop the killing. This is close to your heart, and this is your vision. That's why this war needs to end. When it comes to Tomahawk,
this guy loves Trump,
it's up to individual
just like we do.
Decide whatever they want to supply to Ukraine. NATO doesn't take a position, but I can assure you this. When the president called me in July and said we want to again send weapons into Ukraine, paid for by our allies, the Canadians and the Europeans, that was an important moment. And that is now taking place, and the ambassador, myself, we're working hard at this. Already $2 billion of weaponry into Ukraine from the US, paid for by allies. So I'm not going to comment on about the Tomahawks, but when it comes to the US and all the support for Ukraine, it is there and it is close to the president's heart, and I know this.
I will say this, and Mark can say it better than anybody. The European nations and Canada have really pulled together, and it's beyond even that. I mean, it's really beyond that.
I was with the Australians, the New Zealanders, Japan. They're all.
If you want to really add them up, we could really add them up. But NATO, basically, European and Canada, and a lot of other nations, they've really band together. They are not happy about what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. They're not happy at all. Neither am I.
Mr. President.
Jeff?
Sir, just changing this topic slightly, I see you've got
the
model of the White House and the ballroom. Many people were surprised the entire East Wing is being demolished because you had said initially that the ballroom would just touch or would not.
Well,
touch
certain
it.
areas
What
are
happened?
certain areas are being left. We determined that after really a tremendous amount of study with some of the best architects in the world, we determined that really knocking it down, trying to use a little section. The East Wing was not much. There was not much left from the original. It was over the course of 100 years, it was changed. The columns were removed, and it was a much different building. Then a story was added on in 1948, 1949. There was a story added on, which was not particularly nice. And the building was very, very much changed from what it was originally. It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building. And rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that, frankly, they've been after for years. You have that. I brought these along so people could see, but it's, there's a
These are the best press conferences, aren't they?
Nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders,
look at that.
including
Beautiful.
the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people. And this is a proper kind of a thing. Now, what the White House was doing, as you know, is they were putting tents out on the lawn. This is an interior shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it. And it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine, donors to it. The government's paying absolutely nothing. We're also working with the military on it.
Look at that. That is a
everything
palace.
perfect.
Looks like Mar-a-Lago.
The military is very much involved in this. They want to make sure everything is absolutely beautiful. You can see the kind of interiors that we're talking about. That's an interior of the ballroom.
And less than the basketball
it's the
court by
highest
100
level.
million.
And you see it goes beautifully with the White House. I mean, the mix is beautiful. So over the years, many presidents have made changes. This obviously would be the biggest change, but this was something they've wanted for at least 150 years. Many of you have gone to the events where they had, as an example, President Xi, or they had, a leader of one of the countries, including the king and the queen from your favorite country.
Absolutely.
Frankly. But where they'd be honored, and they'd be in a tent out on the lawn, and it would rain, and it was a disaster. Brian's shaking his head. You know what I'm talking about. And
Brian
so,
Glenn, Marjorie Taylor Greene's
I thought
boyfriend.
I'd bring this out because this is going to be probably the finest ballroom ever built, and we're doing it no cost to the country. It's being the money's being put in by me and donors.
The president's
very
actually
great
paying out of
patriots,
his own
actually.
pocket. When have you heard that
And
before?
the spirit on the building of it is amazing. We are using little sections of footings and various other things, but that's sort of irrelevant. In order to do it properly, we had to take down the existing structure. The way it was shown, it looked like we were touching the White House. We don't touch the White House. That's a bridge, a glass bridge, going from the White House to the ballroom. then you get into the lobby of the ballroom, and then you go into the main room. And it's something that has gotten incredible reviews.
And you're just quickly following up on that. Just quickly following up on that, sir. I just want a quick follow up on that question. Your response to people who say that you haven't been transparent enough about this.
I haven't been transparent.
That some of your critics feel it should have gone.
I've shown this to everybody that would listen. Third-rate reporters didn't see it because they didn't look. You're a third-rate reporter, always have been. So third-rate reporters didn't look, but anybody that asked, these pictures have been in newspapers. They've been all over the place, and you know we're very proud of it. It's gotten great reviews. It's gotten really great reviews. So I think we've been more transparent than anybody's ever been.
Mr. President, that the sanctions that you're announcing today will push Putin to the.
Well, I don't know that they will. I think that they'll certainly have an impact. They're massive sanctions. It's sanctions on oil. The two biggest oil companies, among the biggest in the world, but they're Russian. They do a lot of oil. And hopefully it'll push, hopefully he'll become reasonable, and hopefully Zelensky will be reasonable too. You know, it takes two to tango, as they say. And we're going to find out. They hate each other. These two people hate each other. You know that better than anybody. And it makes it more difficult than it should be. This should be easier to do. But the level of hatred between Zelensky and Putin is very substantial.
Could I add one thing? What the president is doing today with these sanctions is putting more pressure, of course, on both parties, in this case on Russia. It's all about changing the calculus, making sure that Putin understands that the president's vision this weekend of having a ceasefire, stop where they are, as you literally said, and that this has to be step one now. And for him to really accept that vision and to come to the table. And then you have to put pressure, and this is exactly what he did today.
Along with Europe. I mean, Europe, look, they've actually become friends of mine. I think all of them.
Yeah.
We have a very close relationship, and they want to see it end too. They really want to see it end. But I can say they're totally committed. If this went on for 10 more years, Europe is behind them. They just can't let that happen. You can't let what's been going on. Now, it should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. But it did happen. I inherited. This was Biden, a man who was, without question, you take a look at the new walkway, the Presidential Walk of Fame, we call it. Biden is the worst president we've ever had.
That's right, he
if
is.
he was even a president. The people that surrounded that desk made those decisions. But this should have never happened. It wouldn't have happened. But it did happen. I inherited it. We're going to get it ended, hopefully soon. Yes, please.
You had a Truth Social post earlier this afternoon talking about a Wall Street Journal report. It's a fake story.
Yeah,
It's
fake.
sort of
Wall Street Journal is fake. Less fake on financial than it is on gossip.
Can you just confirm that my understanding of what's happening is accurate?
Wall Street Journal's owned by News Corp Fox.
Framed it like we had just lifted the U.S. a restriction on intelligence.
No, it said that I gave Ukraine permission to shoot missiles deep into Russia. I didn't do that. Second of all, they're not using our missiles. They're using, I think, European missiles or from someplace, but they're not using ours. And what they do, I don't control that. But I do control our missiles. They're not shooting our missiles in. It was a fake story. Wall Street Journal does a lot of fake stories.
Thank you so much. The president of Colombia in a recent interview said that if you won't change, he thinks that people should get rid of you.
We're talking about now Columbia, the country, not the university.
Yes.
Go ahead. He said what?
He said that if you won't change, then perhaps you need to be gotten rid of. Do you view that as a threat?
Well, he's a thug and bad guy. He's a guy that is making a lot of drugs. We've just, as of today, stopped all payments going to
Press
Colombia,
1 if you love Trump.
the country Colombia. Also, the school Colombia. No, we settled. We made a settlement with him. But no, he's a thug, and he's a bad guy, and he's hurt his country very badly. They're doing very poorly, Colombia. They make cocaine. They have cocaine factories. They grow all sorts of crap that's drugs, bad drugs coming into the United States, goes generally through Mexico. And he better watch it or we'll take very serious action against him and his country. His country is, what he has led his country into is a death trap. Please.
Has the Secretary General presented his Ukraine peace plan to you? Are you prepared to be chairman of the board of
Oh, there is no Secretary General peace plan. But I'm here, I really want to correct it because I saw some of that in the media. Of course, many people are thinking how to bring this terrible war to an end and supporting the President in doing that. Why I'm here is to dialogue again with the President how I can be, how NATO, my colleagues and other colleagues in NATO can be of maximum support to get that done. But there is no peace plan on the table. If there is a peace plan, it is what the President said last Friday and Sunday, which is stop where you are. Stop the fighting.
This is about NATO. We're a very proud member of NATO. We have a great relationship with the countries of NATO. I think made much better by our visit a few months ago when they agreed to 5% instead of 2% of GDP. That was a big concession. I think that was a concession that 2 years ago nobody would have said, even a year ago.
Even 9 months ago, before you were elected.
Yeah, they would have said that's not possible. And the difference is they're paying 5% as opposed to not paying 2%. A lot of them weren't paying, with the exception of Spain. I think you're going to have to talk to Spain.
Yeah, Spain should be on their own. Kick them out.
Spain is not a team player. So other than Spain, everybody's 100%. And you could solve the Spain problem very easily, I think, if you want. Brian, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. And then we'll take Brian. Go ahead.
The soybean farmers, are they going to be getting support from you soon?
Yeah, well, they do. So what's happened, you could say with that, you could say with beef, with all of it. The beef, the ranchers, let's say, who have done a great job, have lost their shirts for many, many years. They've really been decimated. And I helped them a lot. I put tariffs on things coming in to the country, including beef. And that gave them a chance to finally have a decent industry. We are going to be talking to them. They're great people, but they've been hurt for 25, 30 years. They've been losing because other countries have taken advantage of them. And by putting tariffs on, they've been able to make a few dollars. They've been able to have an industry. But I also want to keep the beef prices low. So I'll be talking with the ranchers, and I'll be speaking with a lot of different people, including Scott and Howard, and we'll do something. Because prices are way down in our country. Energy is way down. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline very soon. I see that it's $2.50 in a lot of places, $2.50. We were heading to $5, $6, and $7. If Biden didn't go back to my policy toward the end, you would have seen, but he didn't go back to the full policy. And he missed the most important thing. So we were up to, we were way up. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline. We could even break that number. That's a big difference. The only cost that's really up is beef, and the fake news only wants to talk about beef. And what I did is I made it possible for those people to survive. They're incredible people.
See how they have the ropes holding back the press? I love it.
By other countries, and I didn't want that to happen. So prices are way down, groceries are down, everything's down, energy's way down. Even interest rates with a bad chairman of the Fed. He's terrible. He's a fool. But even interest rates are down. So our country has never done better. We're going to take in, I think, $21 trillion this year. No country has ever taken in more than 3. And we're going to take in $21 trillion of investments because of the tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a mess. We would be a national security problem, and we've done a job. So I'm very happy about that. We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that. So we're very proud of that. Yeah, Brian.
Yes, sir. Yesterday in Los Angeles, immigration officials were attacked by some protesters.
Yeah, sure.
To arrest an illegal alien. Gavin Newsom, other Democrats have used very aggressive language in terms of how to address ICE cases out in the field. Is there any responsibility that we could place on Gavin Newsom and other elected officials for using such aggressive language?
Well, Gavin has to be careful. Remember that when I first came in, they had a terrible riot in Los Angeles. They had the fires, which shouldn't have happened. They didn't have the water for the fires. They should have had the water coming in from the Pacific Northwest. They didn't have the waters. They didn't have water in the hydrants or the sprinklers. So they had the fires, and then they had the riot. And if we didn't go and take care of that riot, you would have lost Los Angeles. You would have canceled the Olympics, which is because of me in Los Angeles. And the police commissioner, the head of the police, said, if the president didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. We did not have the capability of taking care of it. And he said it very strongly. And we did a great job. And within a week, it was all done. Within one day, it was done. But within a week, it was all done. And then they go back to their normal practice of weakness, of not
Welcome to the new
taking
subs.
care of criminals, meaning taking care of putting them in jails where they should be. Washington, D.C., and you all are the best people for that, because Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities. It was one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Now Washington, D.C., believe it or not, I'm embarrassed to say it in front of you, but Washington, D.C. went from one of the worst, most dangerous cities to you can walk down the street, you can send your child to meet you at a location. Your child is going to be fine. We have a very, very safe city, one of the safest, and very proud of that. Memphis, by the way, is coming along fantastically. We're in Memphis right now. We had the FBI in Chicago. We're doing things. We haven't served Chicago yet. When we do, Chicago will be very quickly a very, very safe city. But if you look at what's happening in Memphis, it's great. But you got to look at Washington. People are coming up to me, people that work in the White House, they're saying, "Thank you, sir." And I immediately know what they're thanking me about. It's thanking they can walk to work. They would never walk to work a year ago. They can walk into work and they feel safe and secure, and it's beautiful. And I'll tell you what, it's really an honor to add that great ballroom to the structures in Washington. It's going to be one of the great ballrooms of the world, and I think it's going to be something you're all going to be very proud of.
As it relates to your meeting that's coming up with President Xi, what do you hope comes out of that meeting? What deliverables?
I think we'll make a deal. I think we're going to make a deal on the rare earth is the least of it. Look, the tariffs are much more powerful than the rare earth. The rare earth is a disturbance, but there's a lot of rare earth around. I'll tell you, I've had more calls on rare earth. We've got it. Everybody's. We'll make a deal on, I think, everything. I think we're going to make a deal on soybeans and the farmers. I think we're going to make a deal on maybe even nuclear. President Putin in his call mentioned to me about nuclear, where we do a de-escalation, and I'm fine with that. I think it's good. I think it's a very appropriate thing. We have the most nuclear weapons. Russia's second. China is actually third by a long way, but they'll be even within 4 or 5 years. Too many. And we are talking about de-escalation. That's already being talked about. And I think we'll probably add China into the mix.
Mr. President, you convince President Xi to stop purchasing all of that Russian oil that's funding this war against Ukraine?
Well, I think I'll be talking to him about it. I think it's a little bit of a different talk. India, as you know, has told me they are stop. It's a process. You can't just stop it. But by the end of the year, they'll be down to almost nothing. That's a big thing. That was almost 40% of the oil. India, they've been great. Spoke to Prime Minister Modi yesterday. They've been absolutely great. China's a little bit different. They're a little bit different relationship they have with Russia. It was never good, but because of Biden and Obama, they got forced together. Yep. They should never have been forced together, but they're a little bit forced. But they're by nature, they're not. They can't be friendly. They can't be friendly. By nature, they can. I hope they are friendly, frankly, but they can't be. You should not have forced Russia and China together. And Biden did that, and Obama did that. They forced them together because of energy, because of oil. And so they are closer than they would normally be. I think I'll probably be talking about it. What I'll really be talking to him about is how do we end the war with Russia and Ukraine, whether it's through oil or energy or anything else. And I think he's going to be very receptive. He would now like to. I'm not sure that he did at the beginning. He would now like to see that war end.
Do you think Xi plays an important role, Mr. President? Do you think Xi plays an important role in terms of inserting himself and convincing Putin, who he speaks to regularly, to stop the war?
Yeah, I do. I think he can have a big influence on Putin. I think he can have a big influence on a lot of people. Look, he's a respected man. He's a very strong leader of a very big country. Yeah, I think he can have a big influence, and we will certainly be talking about Russia, Ukraine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Liam Kostrup with CRI. My question is actually for the Secretary General.
Yes.
Mr. Secretary, I don't know if you've seen this, but polling out of Ukraine shows a massive collapse in Ukrainian support for the war. A Gallup poll had it just 23%. That's less than a quarter. Zelensky came out today praising President Trump's proposal for freezing the front lines of battle as part of a ceasefire. He said that's a good compromise. So
people view your coming here as, you're lobbying the U.S. government to continue its involvement in the war. You're obviously lobbying for more NATO weapons to be sent to Ukraine, but Ukrainians themselves don't want to fight the war. So how do you justify that morally?
Well, I'm lobbying only for one thing, and that is to make sure that we end this war. And I don't have to lobby the president because we totally agree on this. And this is what he has been doing from day one. Everything he could do to break the deadlock with Putin, get the dialogue going, dialoguing also with Zelensky, and getting this war done. It's crucial. And the fact that the US is now supplying weapons into Ukraine, paid for by allies, is extremely important. And that's now happening since 2-3 months. About 2 billion moving into Ukraine.
The war hasn't wound down. Why do you think that'll wind it down now?
What do you mean?
Do you think more weapons will wind down the war?
No, I mean, there's more to be done. So what you need, what the president said this weekend, stop where you are, so basically do a ceasefire and then have all your discussions about territory and whatever. But first, stop the war. This is what you said on Friday and on Sunday.
It's a war, I mean, your question's really a fair one. It's a war that should have never started.
And
you know how I feel about it. But it's a war
ended.
that should have never started. And we're not selling any weapons to Ukraine. We're selling them to NATO.
Welcome to the new subscriber, Steve. Welcome.
With Biden, he just gave $350 billion worth of weapons and cash right into Ukraine, and that was so foolish. But we sell them to NATO, and in theory, you can do what you want with them. It doesn't have to be Ukraine, but probably it is mostly.
No, what nations are doing now is buying from this program and making sure that the supply is in Ukraine, so Europeans and Canadians. And for example, these are interceptors for the Patriot systems, crucial to protect the cities. Today, again, a Russian attack has killed children, at least seriously wounded children in kindergarten in Ukraine. So we need to make sure that the air defense systems are in place, and we need the US systems to do that, and the Europeans are paying for that. And this is exactly the type of actions we needed, and the president is doing that and trying everything.
What a boom for the economy, right? Europe's buying our weapons. We're not giving them, they're buying them.
I always felt that way. I always felt he wanted to. When I was in my first term, I was I was very close to him, relatively speaking. It was harder because of the Russia hoax. But I would talk to President Putin about Ukraine, and it was the apple of his eye. I'd say it was the apple of his eye, but it would have never happened. He knew the consequences were too great. When we had a rigged election and all of a sudden I wasn't there, he said, wow, I think he looked at Afghanistan, how horribly that was handled, so stupidly. And I think that really gave him a little additional, incentive. I always felt he wanted
Jeffrey,
the whole
new
thing,
subscriber, welcome.
a piece of it. But I think now he's willing to negotiate a little bit further, and I think he's willing to make a deal. We'll see. We'll see. We don't want him. We don't want him to have the whole thing. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have this big terrorist case before the Supreme Court. It's November the 5th.
Yeah.
You suggested that you might actually show up to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I'd like to. I think it's
one of the
most
show out.
important
That'd be
decisions
great.
we'll ever have from the Supreme Court. With tariffs, we're a strong, sound country. We're a nationally secure and internationally secure country. We're a very rich country. Without tariffs, it's a slog for this country, a big slog. I think it's one of the most important decisions in the history of the Supreme Court. And I might go there. I really believe I have an obligation to go there. We are doing so well as a country right now because of tariffs. And you have to understand, tariffs have been used against us for many years, decades. And just slowly but surely hurting our country so badly. That's why we owe $37 trillion. We owe that because other countries have taken advantage of us over many, many decades, And now we're a rich country. We're taking in money like we've never done before. Without tariffs, that would not be happening. And also, I solved, as you know, 8 wars. Of the 8, 5 of them, maybe even 6 of them, are because of tariffs. The threat of tariffs on these nations, if you want to fight, that's okay. India and Pakistan. If you want to fight, that's okay. But you're going to pay tariffs, and they're going to be very substantial. And we're in the midst of a trade deal. And they said, we don't want to do that. 2 days later, they call up, and they're not going to fight anymore. They have peace. But I've done that out of 8, I would say 6 times, 5 times, 6 times. Tariffs are vital to this country. And tariffs have been used against us by China, by every other country, and all we're doing is using them to negotiate fair deals. And as you know, we made a fair deal with Japan. We made a fair deal with all of Europe, the European Union. We made a fair deal with South Korea. These are countries that were taking so much money away from us, not sustainable. And now we're taking in hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars. If this country is not allowed to have tariffs, if this country is not allowed to have the President of the United States negotiate on behalf of it with tariffs, we are put in a position where we're going to be a third world country. We can't let that happen. I think it's the most important case that we're going to have for many, many years to come. One of the most important cases we've ever had. With tariffs, we're a rich, secure country. Without tariffs, we're a laughing stock. We'll be a laughing stock. And I don't want to have anything to do with that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was a great one, wasn't it? Oh, that was a great press conference. I mean, that was a good one. That was a good one. I love when he calls out those reporters, don't you guys? Oh, man. Now, if you're new to the program, my name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I live stream every day in the mornings, in the afternoons, on the weekends, and I take live calls when I'm live streaming. I was taking calls earlier on the stream, so when you watch, you see the number pinned in the live chat. You can call me live on the air. If you're new, welcome. And all of you who subscribe during this stream, welcome to the community. You'll enjoy this channel and the community we have here. Again, my name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.